Donald Trump just went to an event hosted by the National Association of Black Journalists. Kamala was also offered a few times to go. She offered a few times that she might be available that was different from what they were offering, but her schedule was tight and they weren't able to find a date and time that worked for both her and the event. So it ended up just being Trump getting absolutely crucified by black journalists, something that, of course, we all love to see. And I have a few of the most fiery clips to go over.
A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner.
I mean, she puts his head on a stake in one question. This was how they opened, by the way. This was the first question Trump got asked, and it gave the entire game away of him just being a racist who's pandering for support hopelessly, and there's no answer from Trump. He literally does not address any of the things she said. He doesn't respond to it at any point. He just does what he does best and goes on to attack the journalist personally, calls her fake news, even though everything she said is provable actions and words that he's done and said, because he did them all in public and had no shame saying or doing them. So how is that fake? He came up pushing birther lies about Obama. He did the same to Nikki in this election. He's feverishly attacked the squad and other black Congress members, used rhetoric like animals to describe black prosecutors. And she didn't even cut as deep as she could have. She didn't mention the racial housing discrimination lawsuit that he lost, him saying the N-word during his TV show, racial hiring biases that he's had in the past. But to Trump, I guess it's fake news when you say factually correct things, but they're not nice to him.
Republicans on Capitol Hill have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct question.
Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black.
This is really gross. And it's also a lie that I hear a lot of really dumb people trying to make, which is kind of funny because half of their party says she's picked because she's black and a DEI hire. And the other are saying that she's not black, she's Indian and Asian. But they also say that DEI discriminates against Asians. So it's like, you know, pick where your guys are going to attack her at. You know, you need to get your act together. But Kamala's mom is Indian and her father is Jamaican. She's black, she's ethnic, she's a person of color, and she attended a historically black university in Howard College, so she didn't just recently turn black, as Trump said.
Sadia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You've said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah. Well, police unions are not backing this person either.
Okay.
But again, why would
they're going to be charging the officer? I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends.
This is a non-answer. He's purposefully talking about right now rather than the immunity proposal that he made for police officers, because in recent speeches, he said that he would give federal immunity to cops. The question is simple. Why should the cop who executed an innocent black woman named Sonia Massey be immune from prosecution in a Trump administration? And he has no answer, because police have disavowed the shooting and called it murder. Police unions have. He's been swiftly charged. It's clear cut that he was in the wrong. But under Trump, he wouldn't even be able to be tried. This would be horrendous for black communities that are disproportionately shot and killed by police still to this day, and under a Trump administration would then be unable to seek justice.
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
Okay, just to be clear here, the man who is comparing himself to Lincoln did nothing for the black community. Trump rolled back fair lending laws that would allow for more discrimination in housing. That is something he allowed. He told white supremacists and neo-Nazis to stand back and stand by. Black unemployment shot through the roof under Trump. He attacked George Floyd, labeled the BLM protests all violent, stood with the police rather than those being disproportionately and systemically attacked racially by the police. The overwhelming majority of those protests were peaceful, by the way. Black people were disproportionately affected through COVID under Trump. He appointed all white judges, all white cabinet members, foregoing any bit of diversity, even though America is becoming more and more diverse. He appointed justices to the Supreme Court who would attack affirmative action. It's laughable if he would say he was the best since Lincoln. He wasn't the best since George Bush.
I don't think, look, I think that the Democrat Party is really the one that has the problem. I think they're radical on abortion because they're allowing abortion in the 9th month. They're allowing the death of a baby after the baby is born, based on the governor of Virginia. Based on the governor of Virginia, they're allowing the death of the baby after it's born. They're allowing abortions in the 8th and 9th month.
Well, Democrats have denied.
I think they're right.
Okay, just to clear a few things up here, because there's a lot of bullshit in this answer. Abortion is a process in which a birth is prevented. So obviously it's not abortion if the birth happens. I can't tell sometimes if he's just like old and delusional or stupid, because killing a baby after it's born is infanticide, and infanticide is illegal in all 50 states. And you can't show a single clip of any Democrat or any person of any party pushing for infanticide to be legal. Abortion being legal in the 3rd trimester, the 8th or 9th month, as he's saying here, only happens in medical necessity in the case of a fatal fetal anomaly where the baby would not live or would not live for more than a couple weeks outside of the womb anyway, or the life of the mother being in danger. For it to be legal here in these months, it's to prevent bureaucracy from getting in the way of needed health care. If a woman has like a cardiac injury, like a health problem condition that she realizes, okay, if you go into labor, you're going to die, the last thing she needs is some old white man like Trump telling her, nope, you got to give birth to that baby anyway. But 99.8% of abortions happen before 22 weeks, which is well before fetal viability even, and well before consciousness. And the governor he's talking about here was speaking of a fetus that is non-viable. People clip that out of context to say things like, oh, see, he's saying you can kill a baby after they're born. That's abortion after birth. When if you play literally one line before where the clip usually starts, he's talking about if a mother isn't in labor and labor begins, and then they realize the fetus is not viable. But nobody on Trump's side cares about context or sourcing out information. So seeing a clip on Twitter and then Trump saying it's true is all that these people need. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together.